Over 70% of Toyota reliability complaints are now linked to electronic systems, not mechanical failures. These are not aftermarket add-ons. They are baked into the car from the factory, and most drivers assume that because Toyota built them, they must be bulletproof. They are not. These features are quietly wearing out components, triggering mysterious warning lights, and turning routine ownership into expensive guesswork. Today, we are exposing 11 Toyota features that are slowly destroying the reliability Toyota spent decades building. Let's start with the most damaging one. Feature number 1 is the Toyota Safety Sense camera system. Nothing illustrates how good intentions can backfire quite like a safety system that becomes a liability. Toyota Safety Sense (TSS) was introduced to prevent accidents. It includes pre-collision warning, lane departure alert, and automatic high beams. On paper, it sounds responsible. In reality, the entire system runs through a single forward-facing camera and radar unit mounted near the rearview mirror. That one unit is responsible for almost everything. Here is where it gets expensive. That camera has to be recalibrated every single time the windshield is replaced. Windshields get replaced often for rock chips, stress cracks, or age. What used to be a $200 windshield swap is now a $600 to $1,200 job once calibration is included. Miss the calibration and the pre-collision system may fire at shadows, brake for overpasses, or stop responding entirely. The module itself, when it fails, can cost over $2,000 to replace. A safety feature turned into one of the most expensive single points of failure on the entire car. Feature number 2, the CVT transmission. Toyota spent decades building some of the most respected automatic transmissions in the industry. Then they started fitting continuously variable transmissions to models like the Corolla, CHR, and Yaris. The CVT replaced the traditional stepped gearbox with a belt and pulley system designed to keep the engine in its most efficient power band at all times. Fuel economy improves on paper. Long-term reliability often does not. CVT systems run under constant belt tension. The transmission fluid degrades faster than most drivers realize, and Toyota factory service intervals are far too long for real-world use. Neglect the fluid past 40,000 miles in a CVT and the belt starts slipping. The pulleys wear unevenly, shudder sets in on acceleration, and CVT replacement is not cheap. Expect $3,500 to $5,000 or more. Traditional automatics forgave a missed fluid change. CVT systems do not. What Toyota marketed as efficiency quietly punishes anyone who does not maintain it obsessively. Feature number 3, the Toyota Multi-Terrain Monitor. This feature comes standard on higher trim 4Runner, Land Cruiser, and Tacoma models. It sounds useful. Cameras around the vehicle let you see what is under the car on rough terrain, offering off-road confidence without guesswork. The problem is not the concept. It is the execution. These cameras are mounted in locations that take the worst abuse a vehicle can receive. Mud, rocks, salt, water, trail debris. The camera housings crack, the seals fail, moisture gets in. And once moisture gets into a camera, you are not just replacing the lens. You are often replacing a wiring harness, a module, and paying labor to pull apart the bumper or undercarriage. On vehicles people actually use off-road, these cameras can fail within the first 2 years. The repair cost for a single camera assembly can exceed $800, a feature designed for extreme conditions that cannot handle them. Feature number 4, direct injection without port injection backup. This one is subtle, and that is exactly what makes it dangerous. Older Toyota engines used port injection, spraying fuel directly into the intake manifold where it washed over the intake valves, keeping them clean. Newer engines switched to gasoline direct injection, or GDI, spraying fuel straight into the cylinder. Efficiency improves. Carbon buildup does not. Without fuel washing the intake valves on every cycle, oil blow-by vapors bake onto the valve surfaces. After 60,000 to 80,000 miles, carbon deposits can get thick enough to disrupt airflow, cause rough idle, reduce power, and trigger misfires. Cleaning them requires walnut blasting, a specialized shop procedure that runs $400 to $800. Some Toyota models now use dual injection to address this, but plenty of vehicles on the road today still use GDI alone. Drivers who do not know about this problem just keep driving until the symptoms get bad enough to notice. Feature number 5, the electric power steering system. For decades, Toyota used hydraulic power steering. It had feel, it had feedback, and when it wore out, it gave you warnings, a groan, a slow leak, a stiff wheel. You knew something was coming. Electric power steering replaced all of that with a motor, a torque sensor, and software. It uses less fuel, it weighs less, and when it fails differently. Electric power steering can fail without warning. One moment, it is working. The next, the wheel feels like it is attached to nothing. That sudden loss of assist at highway speed is a serious safety event. The motors themselves can fail prematurely, especially in hotter climates where heat cycles stress the electronics. Replacement of the steering rack or electric power steering motor can cost $1,500 to $2,500, depending on the model. And unlike hydraulic systems that often leak slowly and predictably, electric systems give drivers almost no lead time before complete failure. Feature number 6, the smart key and push-button start. This was a feature that seemed like pure luxury when it launched, and it has quietly become one of the biggest sources of frustration for everyday Toyota owners. No key to insert. Just keep the fob in your pocket and press the button. Convenient. Until it is not. The system requires the vehicle to constantly broadcast a low-frequency signal searching for the key. That signal never fully stops. Even parked, even at home, the car is always slightly awake. The result is battery drain that catches owners completely off guard. Leave a Toyota with a smart key system sitting for 2 weeks, and many owners come back to a dead battery. Beyond drain, these systems are prime targets for relay attacks. Thieves use amplifiers to extend the fob signal from inside your house, trick the car into thinking the key is present, and drive away without breaking a single window. Toyota RAV4s, Highlanders, and Tacomas are among the most commonly stolen vehicles using exactly this method. What felt like technology turned out to be a security liability hiding in your pocket. If this is information you have been missing, consider subscribing so you do not miss what is coming next. Feature number 7, lane departure alert with steering assist. Toyota's lane departure system is well-intentioned and poorly executed in real-world driving. It monitors lane markings through the forward camera and nudges the steering when it thinks you are drifting. The problem is that road markings in the real world are inconsistent. Faded paint, construction zones, rain, sun glare, and shadows all confuse the system. What drivers experience is an unexpected tug on the steering wheel at highway speed, with no warning. On a 2-lane road with worn markings, the car may fight the driver's intentional inputs. It can happen during a careful, deliberate lane change if the turn signal is not held long enough. Drivers who are not expecting it can overcorrect. The more serious issue is when the system actively resists in a situation where the driver is trying to avoid an obstacle. The car fighting back in an emergency is not a safety feature. It is a hazard. Most owners eventually disable the system, but the camera and the module that power it remain in the vehicle, adding complexity and cost when they fail. Feature number 8, the auto-dimming rearview mirror. This is one of the most overlooked features on this list because it feels completely harmless. Auto-dimming mirrors detect glare from headlights behind you, and they darken the mirror to protect your eyes at night. It sounds helpful, and in many situations it is. But the execution matters. These mirrors use electrochromic gel between two panes of glass. When that gel degrades with age and temperature cycling, the mirror stops responding properly. It can stay permanently dark, even in daylight, or it can fail to dim at all, leaving you blinded at night. The mirror also houses sensors, compasses, home link modules, and in many Toyotas, the forward collision camera. When the mirror housing fails or develops moisture intrusion, you are not replacing just a mirror. You are replacing a module-laden assembly that can cost between $400 and $900, a cosmetic convenience turned into an expensive and frequently overlooked repair. Feature number 9, the automatic transmission paddle shifters. Paddle shifters on Toyota. Sport and TRD trim vehicles feel exciting at the dealership. Tap the left paddle to downshift. Tap the right to upshift. Manual control without a clutch. It sells well on test drives and gets used significantly less afterward. The problem is not that they are gimmicky, although many drivers stop using them after a few weeks. The problem is what they are connected to. Paddle shifters route through the transmission control module and the steering column wiring. Every interaction introduces a signal that must be processed, confirmed, and executed. Wiring that runs through a rotating steering column is vulnerable. Corrosion in the connector, a damaged clock spring, or a glitch in the module can cause erratic shifting behavior that is incredibly difficult to diagnose. Mechanics spend hours chasing an intermittent issue that turns out to be a paddle shifter signal causing ghost commands to the transmission. A feature most people use for a month becomes a diagnostic nightmare years later. Feature number 10, the Panoramic View Monitor Parking System. High-trim Toyotas now offer a 360-degree bird's-eye parking view that stitches together video from 4 cameras mounted around the vehicle. It looks impressive on a brochure, and it genuinely helps in tight parking situations until the cameras start failing. 4 cameras means 4 points of failure. Each camera is exposed to weather, car washes, road spray, and temperature extremes. The seals around them are not impervious. When one camera image starts to discolor, develop lines, or go dark, the entire composite view degrades. Because the system integrates into the center display and requires a processing module to stitch the images together, diagnosis is not simple. Replacing one camera often means recalibrating the entire system. Total repair costs for a camera plus calibration can run $600 to $1,200 per camera. 4 cameras and a module means the potential liability is significant. The more cameras a parking system requires, the more expensive the inevitable repairs become. Feature number 11, the integrated touchscreen navigation system. This feature has aged worst on Toyota vehicles from the last decade. When Toyota began embedding large touchscreen navigation systems into their vehicles, they made a decision that sounded smart at the time. Build the maps and navigation directly into the car, no phone required, always available. The problem is that built-in navigation becomes obsolete the moment you drive off the lot. Map updates cost money and require dealer visits or online purchases. The interface that felt modern in 2019 feels dated by 2022. But here's the deeper issue. These systems are deeply integrated into the car's electrical architecture. The screen controls climate, audio, driver settings, and sometimes even drive mode selection. When the screen freezes, and they do, you may lose access to heat in January, or lose defrost while your windshield fogs up. Replacement screens for Toyota integrated systems cost between $800 and $1,500 before labor. And because the system is proprietary, you cannot simply install an aftermarket unit without significant workarounds. What was sold as a premium feature became an expensive aging liability that most owners now bypass entirely with a phone mount and Apple CarPlay. That's what makes this problem so important to understand. Toyota's reputation was built on mechanical simplicity and durability. Engines that ran forever, transmissions that didn't complain, systems that forgave neglect and rewarded basic maintenance. That reputation is real and still largely deserved where those simple systems exist. But every layer of technology added between the driver and the road is another layer that can fail. Cameras that need calibration, motors that need programming, modules that need replacement. None of these failures are dramatic. They do not happen all at once. They happen slowly, one warning light at a time, one repair bill at a time, until an owner looks back and realizes the car that was supposed to be bulletproof has quietly become expensive to own. The most reliable version of any Toyota is the one with the fewest systems that can fail. The more you understand which features add real value and which ones just add complexity, the better decisions you will make at the dealership and the fewer surprises you will face down the road. Toyota still builds exceptional vehicles, but reliability is not just about the engine anymore. It is about everything surrounding it. Knowing what to watch for is the first step to protecting the investment. If you want to go deeper, the next video covers the exact maintenance habits that keep high-mileage Toyotas running like new, the ones Toyota dealers do not put in the owner's manual.